Hello, I'm Daniel Vasco, and welcome to my office. Just wanted to comment a little bit about the news that has recently come out about Governor Greg Abbott of Texas and Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida issuing executive orders to curb the chaos involved with mandating COVID-19 regulations in their respective states. And it's something that's pretty much become nationwide these days. But essentially, what Abbott did in Texas was to ban COVID-19 vaccines and the obligation to take vaccines and to wear masks related to COVID-19. Okay, in state, it was directed to state agencies and municipalities throughout Texas. So government entities, basically. With DeSantis, he essentially gave the option to the students, or took the obligation that students wear masks in public schools. So relating to public schools and public entities like municipalities and agencies which form part of the executive branch. An executive order is essentially cutting through all the red tape. It's cutting through the bureaucracies. It's cutting through basically the deep state. It's just all the obstacles that are set up in the way of getting things done. An executive order just cuts through all that. And they can do that because it's a crisis. It's something that you have to act immediately. Okay? And where the Dems and the liberals use crises to push emergency economic relief and to favor the big banks and the big corporations, multinational corporations, the conservatives, when they issue executive orders, is to protect rights of the citizens. So that's some of the big differences there. On the left, when they issue executive orders, oftentimes it's like the nanny state. Take Governor Gretchen Whitmer here in Michigan. Okay, she issues executive orders forcing people to like wipe their nose and and not sell fertilizer or certain home improvement, home gardening supplies. Okay, so it's like moral almost. It's like they're pushing a religion almost. So again, the purpose of an executive order is to guard the trust. It's to guard the Constitution. It's to guard the legal entity. The rights that contained therein, granted from that instrument. Okay, that's essentially what it's good for. That is what you need it for. Okay, protect the border. Stop rights from being taken away, like what DeSantis and Abbott did. What Gretchen Whitmer is using her executives for is a typical liberal thing. It's moral. She's become the mommy. We're helping everybody wipe our nose and everything. That's not what it is for. But you're going to be increasingly seeing that this executive order instrument is the only way that things are going to get done. Who takes seriously anymore the legislative branch? I mean, doesn't it just about everybody hate politicians? I mean, when people actually are trying to look out for the interests of the beneficiaries of this trust, the Constitution of the United States, they go in there and they have to make a scene because they find out that everyone's patting each other on the back and telling them casually, you play ball when you come into your Congress, so forth, and you got to play ball to pass this bill, otherwise you're going to get a bad record that you got nothing done. You got no bills passed. Okay? People criticize AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because she's basically ineffective. She doesn't get very many bills passed, but just like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they realize that they just have to compromise too much. Now she's the AOC is the liberal side of it, which she comes up with a lot of crazy ideas, like banning cow flagellants or whatever. But that's what it's become. It's become gridlocked, along with these state agencies. Now, here in Michigan, they blocked Gretchen Whitmer. Actually, they did not block Gretchen Whitmer. the legislature, the Republican-controlled legislature, revoked an old law back from the 40s allowing the state of emergency to be extended indefinitely. And so they repealed that recently. I think it was like 60 to 48, all Republicans and a couple Democrats voted in favor of that. Okay, Gretchen Whitmer's laughing at that. She's got state agencies. She's got Health and Human Services. That's where she can go to get things done. All right, that's part of the executive branch. That's like her third arm or whatever. Like she's gonna love going through that. And it might even backfire a little bit. If a governor can't take control and a governor cannot restore order, then that's not necessarily a good thing. It's a bad thing when liberals are in power, but I don't even think they have the support that they claim that they do. Who knows if they even, got elected, for crying out loud. People are waking up to wokeism. Like, they reject it. They don't want that anymore, But let's say there was a situation like in Portland. Just continual chaos. No one's enforcing the laws. No funding is getting to the right people. No funding is getting to law enforcement. People putting obstacles in the way of people having to do what they ought to do. Well, if I'm a governor, I'd expect to just have the resources and the power to be able to restore order. You want it to be organic. You don't want to be an artificial level, but you want somebody to restore order. And I can imagine, this thing in Portland's been going over 28 days, that's for sure. It's been going on like a year and a half now. So, something like that could backfire. So, the problem is the moral standard. You want a governor to have power. A governor is someone that should have enough power to get things done. And, all these libertarians that they're always critical of leaders, not the bureaucracy, but leaders having power, like individual people having power. But they loved when Trump had the power. Trump had power on the border. He secured the border. He did a lot of executive orders. He even did executive order regulating architecture, saying you have to have good architecture. It has to be respectable architecture that's going to reflect good when you come to Washington, D.C. for foreign people or for anybody. Okay, it was one of the first things that Biden revoked, but nobody said anything about that. They loved that because it was Trump in power. And that's who the people, that's who represents the people. At this point, people are wising up to all this. They know what's going on with the deep state. And so I don't think it's much as a threat as people make it out to be. Our leaders are going to be doing more executive orders. Okay, this is the new fad. People are used to it now. But actually, we're going to get back to American patriotism. We're going to get back to America first. We're going to get back to protecting the trust from agencies or from people like the Federal Reserve that's kind of just bleeding the resources out of it, blocking it from getting to the beneficiaries, the citizenry of the United States, which is us, and funneling it to private shareholders. Who can name the CEOs and the board of directors or the shareholders of these major companies like Disney? Name one, somebody on the board at Disney. Maybe you could do it at Disney, but, take a major company. It's rarely do you know who at all is running the show around there. And yet, people would, these people lobby continuously in the halls of Congress to favor their positions, their economic positions, and to become more of the cartel that they are. Okay, so we have this complete shadow government, and, when we got someone that is a governor or a president or whatever, someone in leadership role, there's accountability there. But if they have no power, there's no accountability, even though that's who you think is running the show, but it's not. Okay, so there's accountability at that point. So if they issue an executive order to get things done, they better get stuff done. Whereas a bureaucracy, an agency like the Health and Human Services, FBI, CIA, Federal Reserve, FDA, whatever. Who knows even who's even keeping track of who's in charge of who's on the board of these agencies. You might be able to go and look this stuff up, but I mean seriously, it's just not how it works. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one.